power of this technology goes so far beyond what like the typical like table conversation about VR gives it credit for. You know, like we talk about it as like a useful tool or an immersive, fun experience, but what we're talking about is like truly transformational.
It should be perfectly possible to trick your brain into any experience if your brain can already do that itself naturally. So VR is almost like taking that ability for our brain to generate any experience for us and like putting it in our hands, which is wild.
Man, that's something in the history books. People are going to look back and be like, yeah, 2022, 2023. That's when education, after hundreds of years, finally upgraded.
We're in a strange time where our physical worlds are intersecting with our digital identities, and right now is a time to kind of determine what you want that to be.
Once you have full body tracking that works well and it's frictionless, right? Meaning it's easy to do.
Yes.
It's a whole new, it's not a game changer, it's a whole new game.
So maybe there will be some other people who would be curious to see what I'm learning, what I'm discovering, so to say. And that's how the Discover YouTube channel started.
Oh, not really disco VR, Discover.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel bad when people ask me about VR, or they're like, what do you do? Like, all right, you asked, here it comes.
I love VR, but I love going out and breathing fresh air. And not only was I stuck in VR for 10 days, I was stuck in one room because I was streaming, you know, the same space. I didn't see the sunlight. I totally lost track of what time everything was.
She dances with the robot. She does the first steps. She dances with that robot. She takes that thing off her face. I have the video. I'm holding it hostage. She takes it off her head and she says, I gotta have it.
There are a few moments in my life I can remember very vividly. The day I got married, the day my kids were born, the day Facebook announced that they bought Oculus is one of those days. I was making chili.
I've been in a lot of gaming communities, and the VR community is by far the best community that I've ever been involved with.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Between Realities VR podcast. Woohoo! We are full swing, cruising right on through season 8, and I'm pretty stoked about it. You know, things could be a lot worse. And we're live on YouTube right now, so super exciting times. It's February 23rd, 2024, 22324.
That was elegant.
February 23rd. My name is Alex, VR, I guess. I'm one half of the Between Realities squad, and the other half is sitting right next to me, and it's Skiva.
Hey, what's up, man?
How's it going, brother?
It's good. It's good. I am back from the beach.
Dude,
and it's,
how was your week?
Nice. It was good, man. You know, I drove out to California, and I hung out with Tribe Grey Wolf and Jordy Grey Wolf, and just hung out. Just a lot of it was rain. There were some unfortunate things happen. You know, my car broke down while I was out there, but you know, I did have like a good solid day to just hang out and
gone for a week. Had one solid day.
Yeah.
Ouch.
I know.
That's brutal.
That's okay. I wasn't gone for a full week. I left on Monday.
That's true.
And I came back yesterday.
That's true.
Yep.
Guys, let me know if my mic sounds weird. It just sounds so different to me today, and if it comes out weird or whatever, you just let me.
It does sound a little.
Can you feel me? You feel me? It's like
it does. It does.
Almost...
How does it sound, chat?
Yeah, let us know.
Let me see what's happening here.
Let us know if you're here. And,
yeah.
You know, if I'm like cutting out, it's almost like maybe a noise gate or something.
Yeah, I'm looking right now to see if anything changed.
I don't know.
You know, I got kids, and sometimes they play with stuff.
Yeah, that's true. When we first got back on here, I said hello into the microphone. It was like hello, 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 hello. There's like echo and reverb, and all of that on here. But anyway, I'm happy to hear that you enjoyed your time. It's cool that you got to see Tribe Grey Wolf, and Jordy Grey Wolf. We were just saying before the show that they're just incredible people. Like they make everybody else look bad. I'm kind of getting sick of it.
Yeah, they really are awesome people. They're like truly some of my best friends I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, they're amazing. I love it. I have a Between Realities doormat in my front door.
Me too.
That I wipe my feet on when I come into the crib, courtesy of the tribe. So shout out to Tribe Grey Wolf. Love it. That's cool. You got to just dig your feet into the sand a little bit.
I did. I just hung out. I literally
no VR all week.
No, I played a little bit of Pal World. I brought my laptop. So at night, right before I went to bed, I'd hop on with the crew.
Nice.
You know, but really, I just planted a chair on the beach and I just sat there.
Beautiful.
From the time I woke up, literally to the time I went to bed.
Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. All right, cool. Well, everybody seems to say that the mic is sounding good, so we will just push on and start cruising right through this.
Sweet.
So let's see here. A couple of quick little shout outs. I guess the first one I should say is Kensei has dropped a super chat. Amazing.
Yeah, buddy.
It's a $10 super chat.
Wahoo!
Baby, 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 baby. It's Friday. It's a beautiful day, and we get Between Realities. Let's freaking go. That's right, Kensei.
Dude, I forgot all about my confetti button until just now. So I'm sorry that I didn't confetti any of the people's super chats.
The confetti isn't attached to the super chat?
No, I have to push it.
Wow.
Old school.
You did a pretty good job, at the beginning of this. Snowtoad becoming a member for 8 months.
Hey,
wow.
Right on.
Just love to be a very small part of this great community.
Dude.
You're more than a small part, Snowtoad.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you're out there. You're contributing. You're making shit happen.
You rock.
So hey everybody, thanks for joining us for the live show. Before we introduce today's guest, I do want to quickly say hello to those of you who have taken the time to join us for the live show here on YouTube. Before I do that, I should probably mention that YouTube is the place, it's the home of Between Realities, but you can get Between Realities anywhere, right? Spotify,
Spotify, iTunes.
Spotify's the only one I use.
See, I don't even use Spotify. I use YouTube Music, really primarily. I think it has everything that Spotify does.
Dude,
so
I have been like a loyal paying subscriber of Spotify for like a decade.
Wow.
And I don't even.
Man, the only
care.
thing that it has now that YouTube Music doesn't is the Joe Rogan podcast, which is a bummer because I really like the Joe Rogan podcast.
I mean, without going too deep into this, YouTube Music for me is just like not. It's like not so. It's like not an elegant platform. It's like very like slapped together. You know, it's like here's a video pulled from here, and this is off of a playlist of that, and it's just like not quite as like clean and easy to use for me.
Yeah,
so,
Spotify is really it's
so
a great
sick.
Interface. Yep.
Like, apparently artists hate it, but as a consumer, I love it. So it is what it is. But anyway, thanks for joining us for the live show. I saw ClassyGrandma up in the chat very early on, so thank you for being here. And I saw some people earlier in the week, but man, we can't call them out. You know what I mean? You gotta be here on the same day. There's actually some fun little pre-show banter in the chat earlier too. People apparently they're like getting time machines just to try to be first in chat, which is pretty sweet. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so shout out German Rifter and Vivian and Paradise Decay. VR Catalans is here. Obscure Nerd, that's Andy. He's the homie. Qcreator says the bloody weekend. Bro, don't think we didn't notice that we didn't get weekend introductions for a few episodes of season 8. Okay, so Qcreator.
We cried.
This is like your one free pass. Okay. So let's not have that happen again. Red/Ace is here. What's up, man? Good to see you. Substatica chilling with us. EV Man versus Gas. Yo, thanks for being here, being a part of this. Mr. Survivor. FaZe says had to come back. Last episode was great. Yo,
nice.
Thanks for joining the Between Realities family, dude. If you missed last week's episode, it was with Alex Nightfire from VRML, and they announced some pretty cool stuff as an exclusive on the show. So go back and check it out if you missed it.
Yeah, can't wait to go to that con, man.
It's gonna be fun.
Con man.
That's right.
To that con.
Funky Sloth is here, and he's a little bit drunk. That's amazing. Thanks for being here.
Hey, nice.
And enjoying a libation or two with the Between Realities family. Mahina, hi.
Man, wait, a drunk sloth just brings like a really funny image to my head because they're so slow to begin with.
How could you?
And then you drink, and then wow.
How could you notice?
Right
on. Brandon, what's up, dude?
Hey.
Thomas McNostril, what's up, dude? Chi-Town D, good to see you.
Hey.
Thanks for the shout out. Q2C VR Gamer last night.
Moon rocks in Denver, she says.
Dude, amen.
Heck yeah.
Amen. Assassin 32 is here. MickeyBerr is here as well. We love you guys. VR Spry Guy, thanks for being here. Amelia Faust as well.
What's up, y'all?
You guys are all the best. Handy capable gamer here too. So this is great. I just love the Between Realities community. I love the VR community. I am so thrilled and honored and blessed that I get to be a part of it. I think a lot of you all here joining us can feel the same. And I don't know what the VR community would be without the guests that we have joining us today.
Dude, for real. And the community here and the guests we have on today, it's just amazing. I love being a part of this as well. It's just like, yeah, man,
it's great. It's so great.
Amazing
in fact,
family
that we
here.
basically plan nothing when we talk to this individual, either on Between Realities or on the VR Crewcast, which is a show that we are on every single Monday and is hosted by none other than today's guest. Everybody, please welcome to Between Realities for his third appearance, Gamertag VR. Yo.
Hey. How's it going?
What's up, man? How are you?
Now we can chill. Now that we've introduced you and now we can just relax and get into things.
What you got? We got a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I got a cup of coffee. Yeah. I almost grabbed the Gamertag VR coffee mug that's sitting over there.
Yeah, but
it's been so used.
Yeah.
So
there's a big crack in it now.
Endlessly loved that it's not good for camera these days.
Yeah, it got a little crack.
Have you got the OG? Have you got the other one I made?
Oh, it's got to be OG. It's from years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
It's like with a picture of you on it and maybe a red GT on the other side of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one. How's it going? Thank you to everyone in chat joining us today. It's really cool. Thank you. Hello.
Dude, thank you. And thanks for everything, man. This probably sounds like the end of an episode at this point, but I really do mean that when I say that I don't know what this community would be without you. You are such a strong, constant presence in the space, especially in the YouTube space. And when I think about VR YouTubers, your face is the first one that I see in my brain. I feel like you're on it, man. Yeah, absolutely. That's why in the description I decided to use an amazing word, quintessential. And together we figured out what that means.
Yeah. Yeah, you just threw it out there and hope for the best. That sounds great. Quintessential.
But I mean, man. Do you feel like you're as big of part of everything as I'm saying you are right now? Or does it kind of move slowly over the years?
It moves slowly. It has moved very slowly. I think because the way I style my content, it's for probably a very niche audience inside a niche bubble. It's I don't know, it's not VR news really. It's not. I try and avoid clickbait. It's not that. I don't know. But anyway, I don't know. I'm just grateful, man. I'm just grateful. I'm very grateful that I have an immense amount of gratitude to everyone and every time I'm part of something like this. So yeah, that's it. And I think that's part of the key for longevity on the platform in general is just to stay grateful, and show gratitude
absolutely
to everyone. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think I don't know, this is all I think when you're on the outside of VR content creation or maybe the creator bubble or whatever, it's easy to look at it and be like, oh hell yeah, that looks like so much fun, that looks amazing, I want in. And don't get me wrong, it totally is. I felt that exact way when I was watching YouTubers making stuff and I'm like, I could do that. Let me go be a part of that, and I went after it and I did. But there's a lot of realizations that I've had along the way, first of all, anybody who's good at this makes it look really, really easy. And secondly, there's so much effort and work that goes into it. And it's not just physical hours of grinding and working. It's also a lot of mental and emotional load that, you're not exactly realizing you're getting yourself into. For example, yesterday you posted a video on your channel, which is basically a bad review of a game, and when you're in VR and you love VR games, you love VR developers, it can be difficult to say some of that stuff sometimes, but I really respect how you have never backed down. You've never pulled your punches. You're not out there trying to be unnecessarily mean about games that you didn't enjoy or whatever, but when something needs to be said, you say it. And I don't think people realize how hard that can be to do.
It's well, it is. So don't get me wrong, right? While I'm doing it, it takes its natural course. Yeah, like I know what I need to say. I know how I feel, but the hours between publishing that video and then at least 24 hours after that, it's all I think about. You know, like the Stranger Things one has been very difficult. You know, even though this has been resolved, like the community inadvertently, I think, have put people against one another. Because one thing that happened with Stranger Things was one content creator is a fan of Stranger Things, like a proper fan. Yeah, they probably own media, for example, merch, things like that. Someone else loved, you know, the storytelling, and then you've got my review, and I actually think it's really cool that there's 3 different ways of looking at it. I think it's really good. It's better than an echo chamber, but with an IP like Stranger Things, man, I mean, people are very passionate about this stuff, and yeah, it was just, I think there was comments that just flew back and forth. GT said this, he said that. Why have you said this and he said that? And they kind of put us up against one another. Unfortunately, one of the creators did bite, you know, and I pulled him up on it and we got it sorted. But still, you know, it's tough. Mentally, it is tough, and it's always been tough. And I've put years into this. Yeah. Years, you know, like I can't describe to you the amount of things I might have missed, how much of a bad friend I've been in real life in the chase of, no, I'm going to work. Luckily, I've gone full time now. So like before, I was working 40 hours a week and then doing this as well. But still, man, it consumes most of the moments in my life. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, this is especially hard because everyone has different opinions. People's fandom of stuff like this absolutely sways how they feel about the whole thing. But really, like when you have a massive IP like this, whether you're like a fan of it or not, it's something that you notice, it's something that you see in a store, and you might click on it and buy it because it's a known IP. It's something that you're like, oh man, Stranger Things, right? And then you hop in there and all of a sudden now you're on now you're in some mediocre, you know, half-baked game and judging all of virtual reality and the content on that thing because it's such a massive IP, and you think to yourself, wow, like obviously this is going to be a home run. I'm going to buy this, and then you think, oh, VR just must be garbage. So it's really too bad to see big IPs kind of flop like this.
Yeah. I mean, you say that, right? And the first thing I did this morning, so I was unexpectedly awake at 2:30 in the morning, and then I went on YouTube and I watched a couple of podcasts, and I shouldn't do. I should just stay asleep, but I don't. So I went on the Oculus store, and you'd think that a game like Stranger Things would be a big seller regardless. It's only got 46 reviews on the store, which is unreal to me, you know. And a lot of them are very positive, you know, and that's cool. Like, that is so good. I'm really glad people enjoy it. In no way they're playing the game that I wanted to play. That's what it feels like when I read that. I just think like, what? I don't know why I didn't get on with it, but I can't pretend I got on with it.
So. I appreciate what you're saying right now, but there, at a certain point, like the quality or fun level of experience is somewhat objective, right? Like we can all agree that some games are better than other games. You know what I mean? Like for the most part, sure. Like occasionally, like your tastes and you know, the things you like and you don't like, you know, can sway which direction you want to go. You know, MASH isn't going to play Beat Saber, but no one's arguing about the quality of Beat Saber, like, you know, except for him, because he just wants to have fun with it and he knows it like pushes my buttons. But no, it's like no one's arguing the quality of that. And I don't think that, you know, you with all of the experience that you've had, like you're a reliable source of information, you know, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And if you were like, you know what, this game just isn't for me, but I can tell it's damn good, you would have said that.
Yeah, know? I would have said that. Yeah, you're right. I know. Like, I guess I try and make excuses for myself.
Or for the developers, you know, like
for yeah, man. It was so. I don't know that. Honestly, I don't even know what that game was. I played it, and the thing is, I do think some people might play the first 2 chapters and think I'm kind of all right. I know where this is going. And I'm telling you now, that game will just rip out the floor from underneath you, and you'll be sitting there not knowing what's going on. Like, yeah,
that's not good.
Someone actually wrote to me and said it's like being on acid, which I didn't want to tell you guys because you might.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah, I mean that's not good because usually being on acid's a good time.
Yeah. Quickly, 149 from Snowtoad. Shout out hot dog emoji or whatever, and 249 Swedish denomination. That's orange. That's a fatty one from Beyond Frames.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We love you, Beyond Frames Media. Everything you guys do is good. Okay, everybody knows it.
For real,
Mahina's a rock star, dude.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started.
I know.
She's incredible.
She really is one of the most knowledgeable and amazing and kind people in the industry. You know, sometimes you don't get to see the amazing people behind the scenes, and that's kind of one of the reasons I love doing the show is we get to like bring people in and kind of be like, oh, look at this, awesome. This is, you know what I mean? Like, it's a tough one because there's so many rad people behind the scenes that no one knows.
It's quite funny when I met Mahina. I kind of, and I hope she doesn't take this the wrong way, I did meet her at Gamescom, and it was like about a game we do work together on. And when I met her at Connect, I knew I'd met her, but I kind of felt still like very new, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And literally I just sat down next to her, and she just immediately just started talking to me like I'd only saw her 5 minutes ago. And I had to roll with it because I wanted to be like, oh, wow. Do you know what I mean? Like, you again. But she was just like, yeah, look at this. Started typing stuff. And I was just like, I'm just going to go with this. And yeah, it was, I mean, we do talk a lot on Discord and stuff, but still, yeah. So, yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
She really is. So, last thing I want to mention on the topic of these like popular IPs and these kind of half-baked experiences is it kind of reminds me of when I got the PlayStation VR for the first time. And, I had like my first couple of VR experiences, like Super Hot and, it wasn't even Beat Saber then because Beat Saber wasn't on the PlayStation VR yet. But Super Hot is the one. It's the main one. That's like what I played when I came home for the first time. And it blew my mind so damn hard that I went and bought basically every single game on the PlayStation Store. There was like a summer sale and I bought 160 fucking games.
Dude, I did the same thing. Like you think like, okay, I'm not buying a game. I'm buying like a place. Like I'm going somewhere. I'm going to experience this thing. And I'm like, I did the same thing. I bought so much stuff.
And it took me an hour to realize that was a mistake. Like I started going into all of those games and realizing how badly so many of them sucked. And I can see, like you were saying, like when we get these IPs, like I remember one of the experiences was Kingdom Hearts. Do you remember that Kingdom Hearts VR experience?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, holy crap, Kingdom Hearts has a VR mode. Let's go and check this out. And they just like plop you in a cockpit, like with a couple of the characters from the game, and they're just like looking at you. And that was all it was. Like you're just sitting in a room.
The Final Fantasy fishing game as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I never got into it.
No one really remembers it, but there was a Final Fantasy fishing game. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was pretty bare bones, but it looked good.
The point is like people have expectations of something like an IP like Stranger Things. And it's just so important that if you're going to have this type of partnership happen, that the game is good and fun, like especially for us in VR right now. Like maybe it's not so necessary like in flat gaming these days, but like in the early days they saw similar issues, right? Like the ET game came out, everybody of course hated it, and it like almost crashed
I've been working on it.
Oh, that's so much better.
Sorry, I've been working on the audio issue that we're hearing in our ears. I don't know if that made any difference out there in YouTube land.
Wow,
but it sounds better in our ears.
You know that feeling where you like get your tag is sticking out of your shirt, and you don't realize it. And, it was like that for my ears.
I honestly believe that moment no one understood what the hell was going on.
No, I know.
I was like, I was checking your hands, Skipper. I was like, where's his hands? So what is happening?
Oh man, that was fun. Wow, hey. Okay, so but anyway, I was getting to GoldenEye. Like by the time GoldenEye came out, like GoldenEye, they got the IP and they made a first-person shooter for the Nintendo 64, and it was just a slam dunk. And it paved the way for first-person shooters on home console. You know, like it set a standard, and that's like the first thing I can think of when it comes to just like a brilliant IP being matched with a game developer that can actually execute. And I just wish we could have that moment with one of these games, Stranger Things or Iron Man or NFL Pro Era, or like any of these like huge things.
I loved Iron Man, by the way.
I was just going to say, Iron Man needs to be excluded. That was actually a very good movie.
No, I don't say it wasn't a good game, but we didn't have a GoldenEye moment from that.
No, that's true. I mean, GoldenEye was very special, but I mean, I'd unfortunately chuck Ghostbusters under that bus.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, dude, I know. Man, what happened there?
I know. Do you know what? I've been looking at this and kind of studying it because I've got my own company and I do things, and I kind of come to the conclusion that their whole ethos is to make a game for everyone, but in doing that, they make a game for no one. And I think Ghostbusters was a real representation of that ethos. I'm sure some people enjoyed it, but I'm sure that not as many people enjoyed it as they hoped.
For me, I think it's like a generational issue, you know, because I got chewed out on the VR Crewcast about when I said that, but I personally don't think Ghostbusters is a big deal to most people. If you were a teenager in the 80s, Ghostbusters is near and dear to your heart, or a kid in the 80s, you love Ghostbusters. But if you weren't, if you're a Gorilla Tag kid, you don't care at all about Ghostbusters. You know, they're not even close to relevant for you. And it's not even relevant for me. And I was born in 1987. You know, I was around when like the Ghostbusters animated show was on, and I still didn't give a crap about it. So that for me is like not a relevant enough IP to have the kind of appeal that they were hoping it would. And to be honest, I feel the same way about the Meow Wolf courses. Even though I love them, like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and like the Labyrinth, like these are all things that were relevant like 35, 40 years ago, you know? And like it's amazing that they have the Hollywood connections to make some of those partnerships happen, because I'll take it over nothing. But like, you know, it would be cool if you know, something a little bit more relevant to like modern audiences would show up.
It's cool now that in Ghostbusters they finally brought in Slimer, which is, I mean, I don't know, they needed to launch with that. They needed to launch with some of the big parts of Ghostbusters, and I understand what you're saying, that like Ghostbusters is definitely a generational thing, but I mean, in VR specifically, I really feel like there is an older demographic as well as that younger demographic. So if you do hit on something that has like that's, you know, that nostalgic feel for a certain age group, it can very much sell well, but it has to be known to be a good IP and a good game. And then word spreads and people buy it, but no one said anything good about Ghostbusters. And it's too bad, because it's like when you put in like such cool stuff all into, like you throw in Ghostbusters into a pot, you throw in End Dreams, and you stir it up and everyone goes, oh, that's going to be delicious. And it's a bummer when you taste it and it's garbage. You know what I mean? And it's really
it's weird. It's annoying because mechanically and visually it looked great. Like, and they did the right things and it sounded awesome. But yeah, there was just, I think the core game was just missing, you know.
Well, and great tantrum in the chat saying the one game that needs to be built from the ground up for VR is Tron. And dude,
I know
you're not wrong, but same problem.
Yeah,
Tron's irrelevant. No one gives a crap unless you are Skiva.
Unless you're me.
Yeah,
I love Tron so much.
You have to be.
I would live in there.
You have to be a Gen Xer. You know, if you're not Gen X.
I was gonna say, but with games like with analytics, I think the golf game, for example, I can't remember the name of it, man. Tell me the name of the golf game we were just talking about. Walkabout. They know what audience is playing it, so they know what DLC is probably relevant, you know, and what works. Maybe kids aren't playing Walkabout. You know, maybe everyone over 25 is playing Walkabout, and that's what they go for.
I think they get what they can. Like, because he, you know, like Lucas Martel from the Walkabout world, he has like Hollywood connections, but obviously, like he used to be in Hollywood, now he's in VR, so he has his old connections that he reaches out to for these collaborations, and that's why we see what we're seeing.
But I think he's also a certain age range, and he wants to make the things that he wants to see in there. Just like we create the show that we want to see. And I think that's how you do really, really good work, is not necessarily just going like, oh, what would sell well, and then kind of half-assing it. I feel like that's what happened with Stranger Things.
Yeah.
You know, so if you go into something that you're passionate about, and you do the things you want to do, the quality is going to be there. You're going to have that passion to work on it and do a really, really good job. And Walkabout has crushed it in that way. You know, like, I have never spent so much on a game than I have on Walkabout, because every time a new course comes out, I buy it and I go in there and I play it, and then I find all the balls, and then I solve all the riddles to get the club. And I have literally 100% of that game in every single DLC that's ever come out for it. And I'm not a huge mini golf fan. I'm just not. I never go and play mini golf. You know,
I don't even have a single club.
Wow, dude, that's
I have balls, but I don't have a club.
In my opinion, that's the best part of the game, is like searching around and solving the riddles and like
I need a
getting
club
through it
badly.
I have all of them, literally all of them.
I just want to say, right, in this chat, there's so many names obviously I know, but the one in particular you just mentioned, Great Tantrum. He was one of the first people to actually find me on YouTube. Like, he would have been around the time I had 60 odd subscribers. Nice. And it would be me sitting in my front room streaming PSVR with my wife next to me, watching what I was streaming, and us just all talking and having a good time. Like, yeah, that he would have been around then, which is crazy.
Nice. And you said on PSVR, right? You just kind of hit that stream button and you started going, and then why don't you give us just a quick breakdown of how kind of all that started?
Well, first of all, I should have started earlier. I was such an idiot. You kind of think, who's going to care? But I was recording glitches for a game. What was it called? Don't Knock Twice, I think it was called. And it was some really funny VR glitches. And I think it was more funny because for me, I'd never really experienced glitches in VR. They're so different.
Yeah, you're living the glitch.
Yeah, you're in the glitch. You know what I mean? And I thought this would be great. So I recorded it, and then, yeah, like Skeever just said, actually, I realized that, hold on a minute, I can broadcast, you know, and that's what I did. I mean, I was literally, when I got the PSVR, and I'm not kidding you, it's like you said, Alex, I think I bought about 80 games, and I was playing it pretty much every single night. And if I wasn't playing it, I was talking about it. If I wasn't talking about it, I was trying to bring people back to my house to use it. I was just obsessed.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like, and suddenly I was like, oh, I can stream. Like, wow, you know, and maybe one or two people drifted in, drifted out. I had no idea about titles, tags, blah, 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 all that stuff you sort of learn. And yeah, that was it really. And then Doom VFR went wrong for IGN, and that's pretty much what gave me the drive to take it a bit more serious.
Was Gamertag VR, was Gamertag your Gamertag already, or like what did you go by when you started your channel? Did you have like an old name?
I actually can't remember. To be honest,
you can't remember.
I can't remember when.
You expect me to believe that?
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't believe you. So yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember the day I named it. I remember.
I can tell you the first name I used in the very first chat room I ever joined, like back in 1995.
Wow. I cannot.
Yeah,
I cannot. Wow, you just have a good memory.
Zap was the very first name I ever used.
Zap.
I was like a kid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, I don't remember. I think I always had some kind of variation of Skiva, but like I can't like think back and even remember the first chat room I was ever in.
I was a kid.
Man.
I remember. So I reckon it might have been my old nickname was Labassa. That's what my friends called me, Labassa. It's a Spanish swimming pool. And my wife's not here, but basically, how do I put this? I was very lucky with many girls in Spain, and it was around a swimming pool called La Bassa, mostly. And yeah, I was out there for 3 weeks when I was about 16, and my friend called me La Bassa the Love Doctor. And that was it. Like, it just went on from there pretty much. Yeah, that nickname stuck for like Well, even now, actually, I think if I saw some of my old friends, they might still call me
Labassa. What's up?
That's crazy. Yeah, my dad even got it put on a hat for me once.
Amazing.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah,
so you started a channel, and then you're like, okay, wait a second, I'm gonna like actually be a VR guy, and then you come up with Gamertag VR is the name, and you know the rest is history.
See, I actually don't think it's a good name.
That's
I
great.
don't. I think it's a shit.
No, I mean, I
good.
could see why you would say that. It's almost like you were the first one to it in a lot of ways in my brain.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like Gamertag is such a like generic, I guess, term.
Yeah.
That you almost like ran up and took some ownership of it, you know, and slapped the VR on the end. It's like, I don't know, it just works.
It does. I think it works really, really well.
If it wasn't you, it would have been somebody else maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy it's you.
Thanks. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, like as you, I think I've told you before. It was just on paper. I was thinking like that I need a gamer tag and I need something to do with VR, and that was it. I just sort of like before I started my list, I saw and I was like, oh, that'll do. Gamertag VR kind of makes sense to me.
I love it.
That's it.
Yeah, and the rest is history. And since then, you know, you've grown a channel with tens of thousands of subscribers. What are you like, getting close to 60 or 70 at this point? I don't even. It's hard to keep track.
Yeah, it's around. I get about 1,500 every 28 days at the moment, which is
give or take.
Nice.
Give or take.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, a matter of time before you're at 100K. And I would love to learn a little bit more about like this company that you have started. If you want to like divulge.
XLGL. Yeah. So, can I talk about this normally? I need to work more. Basically, the company is a influencer marketing team. We play test games. If someone comes to us says, listen, we're looking for the right channels to do something with this particular game, we test the game because we don't want people just basically ruining their channels by getting paid to play bad games. That's kind of what we try and avoid. But that, I mean, that in itself isn't necessarily, that's our choice. Creators can do whatever they want, obviously, and make money in any way they want. And they know what works for them. But this is just how we personally run it. So we don't do many campaigns. We're very selective. And not only that, it's me, Mike from the VR Oasis, and Jen from Bhaptics. And yeah, we just figured like we've got so much experience. I used to be a program tester, and I'm very into playtesting anyway. I think my review style is very playtesting.
Totally.
Yeah, it comes from that. So yeah, it's just like trying to put everything all together. And after what happened with me a couple of years ago, where I left my job of 20 years in the railway to get into the VR space, only to find that things weren't what they seemed. 6 months later, I found myself jobless, you know, and all I had was the channel. And I'm like, I need to turn this into a strength. You know, I need to flip this script into a positive because I'd had my heart broken and I felt like I'd let my family down by taking the chance that most people don't. And that is a chance on doing something you want to do. You know, like I've spent more than my life doing a job that it's weird. I didn't ever not enjoy working on the railway. It was a very dangerous job. I loved everyone on there, and I loved the job. Like I kind of, it was important. It was an important job. But I think the idea of possibly, I mean, fuck's sake, like thinking about YouTube, it's such a new thing. You know, thinking whenever I say to anyone, it's still in that category of, if ever I'm at an event, the last thing I want to do is tell people I'm on YouTube because it's the only thing everyone wants to ask and talk about. So I don't. If anyone says, what do you do? I try and think, but I'm not a liar. So I'm going, I do virtual reality videos on YouTube. That's exactly the sentence I say. And if anyone's in earshot, they're like, what? What do you do? They can't believe it. And I'm I feel in that moment, I downplay all of it, but I feel very lucky to be doing it. And
I do feel you.
So,
I go through something so similar. Like, because I used to work in restaurants before I got involved in all of this. And like, I always thought that I would be like, so ready and so hyped and so excited to talk about it, because before when people would ask me like, oh well, what do you do, you know, and I'm like, well, what do you mean what do I do? Like, are you asking me what I do for money? Are you asking me what I'm passionate about? Like, you know, like it was, I guess, like I don't know. I don't want to say triggering, but like there's something about it that I guess didn't sit well with me, because at the end of the day, like I wasn't exactly like proud of my career, or shouldn't not necessarily, I wasn't unproud of it, but it wasn't like an avenue of expression or passion for me, you know? So when people say, what do you do? I don't want to say I take tables, you know, even if it's at like the nicest place in town, like, it's just like, that's not a conversation for me. So I would honestly, most of the time, or whatever. So I thought when I got into VR that I was going to be so stoked and so ready to be like, yep, I work in VR and it's so rad. And that is absolutely not the case. Like I'm like you, I almost avoid it. You know, I'm like, I don't want to like go into all this right now and like have to like explain it from the top, you know, and like, I don't want to make it sound like I think I'm cool or something, you know? So like,
that's the bit.
There's something weird about it. And I'm right there with you. It does. I'm not super comfortable just like having that conversation with people socially.
Man,
there's two sides of it, but yeah, go on.
Oh, I was going to say, I love talking about it. Like there's very, I mean, I feel you, like, it's not like a cool thing, but it's definitely like, I'm finally doing something I'm really, really passionate about. Now, I feel like it isn't the most, there's definitely not a ton of money in VR, right? Like I am not, you know, like I used to be in IT, and there's a lot of money in IT, right? So this isn't the most lucrative business in the world, but what it is something I'm super passionate about. And I want everyone to play VR. I want everyone to love it. And when you ask me what I do, well, you know, sit down, because you're going to get an earful, you know, because like it is all I want to talk about. And I guess that's why I do this podcast, I do the VR Crewcast with you, because what else is there? Like if you are someone that doesn't know anything about video games or really VR, my conversation with you is going to be very short. I'm going to walk around, I'm going to walk away, I'm going to find someone else, because like, what else am I going to talk to you about? Like how the weather is, you know what I mean? Like who's running for president? Like what the heck else
is irrelevant.
There?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
that's relevant.
This is what I care about. This is my life's journey, and I will talk anyone's ear off who asks.
Fair play, man. I think going back to what Alex said, I think it depends how people ask and what position maybe they're trying to push of their own agenda. Some people genuinely just want to talk about it. They might even want to like share a similarity with you, you know, like, oh, you know, I'm a waiter, and they might say, oh, I'm a barman, you know, and I don't know, but yeah, the YouTube thing, I've learned very quickly. It's a conversation that might happen, but never try and steer it that way anyway, you know, just in case.
So what's the name of the company with Mike and Jen?
It's XR Game Labs.
XR Game Labs. And let's say someone listening says, hey, actually, I could potentially benefit from having somebody like that, you know, look at my game or whatever. What's like the avenue to get in touch with you guys? Just like email you or hit you up or whatever? Or?
Yeah, you can either reach me, Mike, or Jen, or we've got like a Twitter page. So, but yeah, like, to be honest, as I said to you earlier, like we've been very lucky, and it obviously is, I guess, not to use the term influencer, but being influencers already kind of means we're already known in a way. So these conversations tend to happen quite naturally. So yeah, we're very lucky that the projects we've had have just stemmed from conversation and not really like, you know, I'm actually starting to reach out now. You know, if I see a game that I think is full of promise, not only do I want to steer it to help and support it, because I want to make sure that when it hits, because at the moment I would rather, and I would be honest, because I'd probably still review it or feature it, I would happily say to someone, I helped playtest this game, here's my review of it. I'd be completely upfront, but I'd rather a good game happen at the moment in VR. Like, we need that. And that's the whole thing of what I'm doing. I know I make a review and sometimes I say a game's bad or I trash a game. I hope people realize that 80% of my content isn't like that. It's very positive and it's what I feel I want to put out. But if I can help, that's what was annoying me. I'd play a game and I'd be thinking, I've got so many ideas and so many things they could have avoided. And I could have told them this months ago. And then this could have all been a little bit easier, you know, and it gives less people avenues to hate or get angry or why is it that high price? You know, Space Junkies was the very first game that I witnessed the developer look me in the eye and make me feel like I knew nothing and he knew everything. And I watched that game crumble, and everything I said that would happen happened.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You know, and I've brought this up on the Crewcast before, but I think it bears repeating in this moment. I often think that developers hear and wish they could implement feedback, but can't. Like, games are like insanely elaborate houses of cards. You know, like the code is like a puzzle that you have to figure out. And I mean, this is not speaking from experience. It's just like what I have come to understand about game development. And, you know, you can, it's easy to give the feedback to say like, hey, you know, you need to add an animation to this or no one's going to get it. Or, you know, hey, you know, this part is not vibing with me. They'll be like, okay, cool. And they go in and just remove that thing, and the game breaks like over there, and over here. And they're like, oh, okay, we can't do it like that. And they like try to fix it, but just like don't have either the ability or skills or pathway to unravel everything that it's kind of been built around. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I don't
like,
know that to be the case, but I have to imagine that is what's happening, because why would you blatantly ignore really good advice from people who know their stuff?
Dude, I really do think that.
Sorry, Skiva.
Oh, I was gonna say, I just think people just think they know better a lot of the times, you know, and if it's a skill issue, well, that sucks, because you got to get better at your job. And I don't want to sound crappy here, but there's certain things that are kind of required in VR for people to have a good experience. And there's a lot of things that if you just listen to your community right from the beginning, listen from the beginning before you put all that work, go do your research like any other career in the world before you start putting some of these things together. So I don't really think that's an excuse, but it is hard. It's definitely hard. A lot of times you're right. It's like a house of cards. You try to remove one thing, a lot of other things collapse. But man, is that an excuse?
It's just speculation on my part.
Yeah. It's literally trying to get in there as early as possible, because then you can help build the cards that you're talking about, you know. And and what tends to happen is, I do think because of the size of the community, and people lean on No Man's Sky for the answer of like a game that was terrible that went good, but that has sold probably 50 times more flat copies than it has in VR, right? We need to remember that when they do these patches. Would a VR game get that much love, money, and attention if it was just VR, No Man's Sky? Probably not. And what happens is, yeah, like someone mentioned Firewall Ultra in the chat, and well, I was meant to be involved in that game a year before, you know, but I think they just figured that they knew what game they wanted to make, and fair play to them. You know, if that's really what mattered, it's very clear that's what they did, and they wanted to really impress PlayStation by using all those features. But
yeah,
you know, it is what it is.
I would have to guess that with the case with First Contact, it's a 50-50 split of ability and thinking that they don't care what anybody else wants. They know how to make the game that they need to make.
Yep, that can work though, can't it?
Absolutely.
That can work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have been a fan of World of Warcraft at multiple points in my life, and you know, like Roots 2 on the VR Crewcast, and that game is a game that has been around for 20 years. And as you patch that game for 20 years, it ultimately changes the experience so much from its original form that the OG experience no longer exists. It is like completely bastardized and just like completely radically changed. And most of the incentive for those changes was to appease the community. Like now they have 10 million players, and 9 million of them never see endgame content because it takes them too long to run from point A to point B, and that makes them mad. You know, they don't want to have to run 10 minutes to get from this dungeon to that dungeon. So eventually they implement instant dungeon where you just teleport everywhere. And then before you know it, no one's navigating the world. And now they have to redesign the whole game based around how people are navigating it now. And once they finally come out with Classic, which is an OG version of the game, like a patch from 20 years ago, boom, now there's like a whole community of people who come back in because that's what they signed up to play initially, you know? But the point I'm making is that when those developers at Blizzard decided to stop making the game that they knew was great and start making the game that the community was demanding, the quality of the experience just
so there's two parts here to a game though, right? When we're talking like this, right? There is the story and the art and the vision of the game itself, and then there's basic mechanics, you know, all of these things and making things feel good from a playing standpoint. Like those two things are kind of different, right? Like you can't make a really good, beautiful, amazing game that you see in your head, but only have teleport in 2024, something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like there are just certain things that you should have researched prior to starting your game to begin with. Like know the industry you're getting into before you start building the groundwork to your game. So some of those things are already there and implemented, and that's not such a hard thing to go and change. But I agree with you. You should, like, the overall vision and art style of a game and story arc and all of that stuff. I don't, you know, I think you should make your vision when it comes to that. You know?
That's what I was going, like, full circle back to what I said earlier. When you try and make a game for everyone, you make a game for no one. Yeah. That's kind of that thing, you know. It sounds like that's what World of Warcraft wanted to do. And why wouldn't you want to include as many people in your game as possible? But at the same time, when you do that, suddenly you're excluding everyone because it's not even the same game that it was in the first place. So, yeah, it's tough, man. You know, it's tough to get right. And there's nothing to say I'm completely right. But like Skiva said, there is just some fundamentals that are easily missed now. For example, Stranger Things. On the right stick that you turn with, they've also got walk forward and backwards on it. So what happens is when you press left and you accidentally do a millimeter forward or backwards, you do like a semicircle and stuff. It's just weird. Just
bizarre.
Strange decisions.
Yeah, that is pretty weird. It always blows my mind when you know, like I'll you know, a developer will ask me, hey, what do you think about this? And I'm like, where's the free locomotion thing? And they're like, what's free locomotion? And I'm like, well, this conversation's over.
Yeah. You know what's funny is a conversation like that was the catalyst for me being professionally involved in VR. I was in Colorado and I was in Boulder, and walking down the streets of Boulder, I saw a brick and mortar establishment that was a virtual reality company. And at the time, it was like right before the Quest came out, and I was like heavy addicted to PlayStation, and I was so stoked. I was like, holy crap, my people are in this building. You know, now everybody knows about VR, but even that at that time, you know, 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, most people did not know. It wasn't really as household of a name as it is now. So I was so stoked to go in there and talk to some people face to face that are VR people. And I go in there and it's like kind of like a 360 video studio, you know, like that's kind of what they got going on. And I'm like, yo, what's up, everybody? I come in there like a firework. And I was like, yo, are you guys stoked about the Quest coming out? And they're like, the what? And I was like, how do you have a VR company, a brick and mortar establishment that you're paying rent at, and you don't know that the Quest is coming out? And that's when I realized, like, I know more than everybody. Like, I care about this more than everybody. Even people who have already invested in VR don't know as much as I do. Now, don't get me wrong. They had no excuse for not knowing what was coming with the Quest. But yeah, it was a conversation like that was totally the catalyst and really got me in. You know, I was like, wow, if these guys can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, do your research, man. Don't start a car company and not know how an engine works. Right. You know,
you got such a colorful chat today. It was lovely.
Yeah, it really is. We also had 5 Between Realities memberships get gifted by RobynzReality.
Nice, thanks.
Thank you, dude.
Heck yeah.
Bluebell dropped to $9.99, saying that this was the first live of the season that you were able to attend. So thanks for being
coming,
here.
Bluebell.
Yeah,
we miss you.
VR Central dropped $10 too, and he said, "Put Skiva's face on a shirt that says, well, that sounds like a skill issue." I don't think Skiva uses that phrase often enough for that shirt,
would be amazing.
But I do like where your head's at.
Let Skiva cook.
Earth Witness gifting 5 Between Realities memberships.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Earth Witness. And Steve Meland, that's my dad, becoming a Between Realities crew member.
What?
Yeah.
Sick.
What's up, Dad?
Check Dad. Wow.
Hey, Dad.
What's up, Dad?
Thanks for tuning in to the live show.
Nice.
I don't think my dad knows what I do, so yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I got my dad into VR actually. The first CES that Skiva and I went to, my dad was there. Yeah, he works in the automotive industry, and like they just like sent a handful of them to CES. So he met up with us at Dreamland XR, which is this like adjacent conference that was happening at the time.
Man, I miss Dreamland.
I know, it was cool. And the Quest 1 had kind of just come out, and my dad came over to Dreamland, and I put him in a Quest 1 and made him play Beat Saber. And, you know, this is a guy who didn't play games with me. He played Chippendale Rescue Rangers on NES with us until we got better than him. And then he's like, I'm out. And didn't play games for like 20 years or longer. And I put him in a headset. He tried Beat Saber, and he was like, huh. And went home and bought it. And then got Quest 2. You know, and it doesn't have Quest 3 yet, but my dad's a VR gamer now. So
wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to have him on as a guest one day.
You should bring both your dads if they're possible. If that's possible, I don't know.
That is not totally possible.
It's not. I don't know. There might be some ashes around here somewhere. I can just set them down on the table right here.
To be careful.
Yeah, you did it. You did. You went there anyway.
I mean, I got my mom, and she has no idea what I do. Like, I'd be like, Mom, what's the name of my company? She's like, what does it do? You know, no idea.
That's
absolutely
hilarious.
No clue.
Mepper says, good thing Brad isn't here. He would have gotten half the gifted memberships. That is hilarious. That's a Crewcast inside joke. But by the way, GT, I wore today's shirt intentionally because I wanted you to see it. I can stand up a little bit here to show you. Do you see my shirt?
Brad.
It's Brad. It's Brad Chan sleeping with the headset on. I have a Brad Chan t-shirt.
Do you know, I do feel we are very lucky to have him on that chat every week. Like, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Dude, Brad is such an amazing guy. He like really understands the tech and all the fundamental things that your normal everyday person just doesn't dive into, but he's super passionate about it. And he's just a really good guy. Like, you ever just go hang out with Brad? He's freaking amazing. He's just a really awesome guy.
Dude, and people care what he says. People care what he says, man. Like, it's so crazy. He goes live by himself, and like 2,000 people show up. It's
usually more than that, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
It seems like he, hits that live button, there's 9,000 people there.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
He's so humble as well. Like, he only sees this as something he enjoys, and it just so happens that people on YouTube follow him. So
we're not only lucky to have him on the Crewcast, but just to have him, you know. Shout out MickeyBerr, by the way. He's been dropping really good codes in the chat.
Thanks, Mickey. You're the best. Such a legend.
Stride VR. I saw Trover Save the Universe earlier. Like, if you haven't played Trover Save the Universe,
dude,
you gotta at least have a session.
I love that game.
There are some really good moments in that game.
It's so good. I really enjoyed every minute I spent in that game.
Yeah.
I've got a really good thing for you guys to do on your show. If one of you could do like a Mickey Mouse voice and the other one does a Bear Grizzly sound, that'd be MickeyBerr. That'd be good.
All right, Skiba, you do the Mickey Mouse.
Okay, hi everybody.
It's not bad.
Does it sound like Mickey?
Alex goes, rawr.
We're not gonna do that.
You made him do it. No, you gotta do it.
You made me do Mickey.
No, this is making me uncomfortable. That does not sit well with me.
Oh, I got a bone for it.
You know, and I guess this is only fair. I derail the Crewcast at every opportunity possible, so might as well have GT do that here.
If you are somehow in this chat and you don't check out the Crewcast, please hop over there and subscribe because it's such a fun show. There's so many of us, and it's just so good.
It's so good. Like I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously, like, you know, everybody who we have on that show is like a pro podcaster, basically. So it's really, really comfortable. And you know, when you first pitched the idea, GT, I was pretty skeptical because I was like, dude, we're gonna do a show with 7 people. Like, that is a lot of people. I do 4 absolute maximum on my show. You know, like, I don't think 7's gonna work. But it does work. And dude, people are tuning in, man. Like, GT, like, tell me, like, how do you feel about what's happened with the Crewcast in the last year, I guess?
How do I feel? I feel very lucky that an idea that I didn't think would necessarily work. It worked for me. The idea was brilliant for me. And I remember being at Gamescom, texting you guys, and I made that little short of all of us in the different color t-shirts I've still yet to buy everyone and send.
I'm not holding my breath.
And I remember thinking, like, this could be like, it felt like a Power Ranger kind of thing, you know. And I kind of thought to myself, yeah, this should be good. And it has been. It has been very good. And like you guys said, it's another extra podcast, so it's another extra time that you're not spending time with friends and family. It's another commitment. But as soon as we go live, it doesn't feel like a commitment. It's the run-up that feels like a commitment. But yeah.
It's a bunch of homies hanging out together that genuinely enjoy spending time together, talking about the thing that they're passionate about. And I could not be happier to be a part of that. And it's just, I love it. I really do.
It's fun, man. And dude, like I said, like people watch, you know, like it's not irregular to have 200 people in the live chat. You know, which
we're very lucky.
Would be completely irregular here. Has never happened on Between Realities.
I'm sure it will. Like, just I think the idea is just keep turning up. You never know how close you are to achieving your goal. So yeah, but if you don't keep doing it, then you will never know.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Well, you know, we're trying. You know, we're ramping stuff up with you know, sharing short content now. You know, I'm sure you've seen some of that we've been sharing. Somebody made a comment on the one on YouTube recently. They're like, I'm pretty sure you're using an AI to cut this up and share it. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, we've said that on the show. They obviously don't watch the long form, do they?
No, we're definitely doing that.
Why would you be against using a tool? But
I don't know. Who knows, man? There's some weird negative feelings sometimes that people have about tools that they don't truly understand.
You know, it has been interesting because you know, we've been lucky here where like we don't really like have haters. You know, like anybody who tunes into the show is super friendly and amazing, and comments are always cheerful and joyful, and you know, we're lucky in that way. But with shorts content, YouTube does things differently, and like it distributes it. You know, like it puts it on an algorithm or whatever and gets it in front of more people. And then that's when you start to see comments from people that maybe aren't as fun, you know, which like honestly doesn't bother me so much. Like we've gotten a few comments of people being like, wow, these idiots need to quit talking on podcasts and go get jobs. They obviously have no idea what they're saying, you know? And like, I thought that would kind of maybe irk me a little bit, but it actually doesn't bother me at all. Like,
I know
it really doesn't. Like, it doesn't hurt me too bad, you know? GT, I know that you've actually encountered like comments and stuff, and it's like throwing you for a loop from time to time. Like, how you doing with it these days? Like, is it easy for you to see comments of haters and stuff like that, you know, or do you still have times where it bothers you?
I'll be lying if I said it. I'll tell you I've actually been in a really good place mentally for the last 2 months, and I don't know why. And it wouldn't be because the channel's doing brilliantly. It's done better.
Change something in your diet, you know? You eating different?
No. Well, I ate a whole pizza before we come on. But no, it's no, I don't know. And I can't. And do you know what? I'm kind of scared to question it too much, because I'm so used to having a mental battle with myself. Normally, I am my own worst enemy. You know, I'm my biggest critic. So like, but the one thing about comments, and I think every YouTuber can feel this, because eventually most big YouTubers stop checking comments, is because you can have 100, 1,000 people say how great something is. It only takes one person, which is the awful thing about human nature. I guess, to bring everything down. You know, that out of all the lovely comments, the one bad one is the one that you'll focus on. And that's, I don't know why that is. You know, I want to understand the mentality of that. So, but I don't ever want to avoid my comments. So yeah, it's a personal battle that I have to figure out. You know, I think it's hard to take, if you're someone who finds it hard to take compliments, that might be part of it, maybe, you know, oh, this is a great video, you're doing great, blah, blah, blah. If you don't actually ever absorb it, because I definitely don't, you know, I don't absorb that stuff. Same as when I go to the gym and people are like, dude, you're looking great. I'm like, I can't see what you're seeing. Yeah. Like, I still need to fucking get my ass down there. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's part of it.
No, man, I feel like I can really relate to you on that too, because the night that I hosted the VR Awards, I was like walking around at the after party and stuff, and like obviously I'm the most recognizable guy of the evening because I was on stage just now for like 90 minutes talking a lot. So I had a lot of people approaching me and like telling me how great of a job I did. And like at first I was like, okay, this is great, hell yeah, awesome, you know, like yes, give me more, yes, it's good. But after like the third or fourth, I kind of started to feel a little bit weird about it. I was like, okay, like you know, like almost like giving me a little bit of a complex or something, you know. And it's like it would be fine for somebody to be critical, because like in my brain, I'm thinking about all the things I could have done better. You know, I'm thinking about the ways I could have been more prepared, how I could have crushed it harder than I did. And like everyone's just like, dude, oh my God, you were so good. You absolutely nailed it. Like I can't even imagine it being better. And it's like how true is that? You know, like I don't necessarily believe that myself. So I wasn't exactly absorbing all of that myself, and it kind of started to make me feel a little bit weird after a little while. So I feel like I can relate.
I don't know. Like, I mean, just to touch on YouTube once more, this is another thing that happens. If you make a video that does well, you never look at it again. If you do a video that does bad, you constantly try and work on it or do something or try and figure out what happened. And it might never steer the ship right. Sometimes it does. If you're quick enough, it can change direction. But yeah, like it's just crap.
And then you get you get these just like degenerate people in the chat saying lame discussion. It's so hilarious. Like, man, I'll tell you what, I really am a chip off the old block, because like it would almost be me to make that joke, you know. Like my dad starts talking crap in the live chat as we're having a discussion about negative comments. Like lame discussion. That's amazing. Hilarious. My dad did that to me in the very beginning of my streaming journey. This is like when I was still only doing PlayStation. And I had like no audience. There was like 2 people watching. My dad popped in and did the same thing. He was like, I don't know, wasn't killing anybody or something. And he was like, man, you suck. And it had such a different effect when like it's such a huge chunk of my viewership, you know, like nobody's watching this. I'm like trying
50% of your
I know, like I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to be noticed by these developers. And then my dad of all people is the one flaming me in the chat. And I like hit him up afterwards. I was like, dude, like that wasn't cool. I was like, it actually upset me.
He's awesome by the sounds of it. So
he is. Cool. No, he really is. Yeah, we have a good thing, and it's cool. But
man, so the both of you started your journeys on PSVR.
Yep.
Right. Which is kind of really where I started mine as well. You know, I was it my first? It might have been my first headset. And it absolutely blew me away, and I thought it was phenomenal. And obviously the PSVR 1 didn't age well with its tracking and stuff like that, right? But it still was a huge part of all of our lives here. And there's so many, there's some really cool stuff that's happening with PlayStation VR right now. I think they have kind of noticed that that they haven't been able to bang out all the titles that they want to, right? And maybe they didn't meet their own expectations with this headset. And now they are talking about giving this headset PC VR compatibility. That's pretty wild, because I didn't think in a million years they would ever pull their own headset away from their own platform and let it be used anywhere else. But in the grand scheme of things, I think this is really, they're doing such a good thing here, because so many people really invested in this and believed in Sony. And even though the titles they put out were absolute bangers and some of the best VR I've ever experienced ever has been on PSVR 2, there isn't a cascade of games coming all the time. So what do you guys think? Like GT, what do you think about this PC VR journey that the PSVR 2 is about to embark on here?
That was an insane journey of when that happened in my mind. Like, so the thoughts that happened were, is this their way of saying we don't really have the games library you're after, so here's access to a new one? I kind of got that impression. I kind of then thought, how many people are like, to my mind, I would think they'd only do that to people buy a PSVR 2. And then I thought, how many people are going to buy a PSVR 2 to play PC VR? So let's assume that you've already got a really good rig or a decent PC. Why would you buy a PSVR 2 for this? You know, I didn't get that, because for me personally, the day I saw Robo Recall was the day I went into PC VR kind of thing. I was like, this, I don't know how you would avoid that. I don't know how you'd ignore it, you know, and I know you get system fanboys, and I know PlayStation. I think that's why I think PlayStation has the strongest community. You know, like they are PlayStation people, you know, and they're strong and they're together. More so than Quest, I would say. Quest people are just they're there or they're not. As PlayStation are very like, no, don't you say anything negative about PlayStation, dude, in any way. You know, they jump right on you. So yeah, you know, but what I think ultimately it's going to be is a Steam Link app through PS5 to a PC. That's what I think is going to happen.
Do you think? Or I mean, I feel like, you know, they kind of set it up to be somewhat easy. Just in what I mean by that, obviously the driver situation is not easy, but it's a USB. It's one single USB-C connection, and ultimately what the PS5 is a PC. Right? It's not running Windows or anything, right? But it's like, so I'm curious if Sony is behind this, if they could create a driver set that would make it native to Steam VR.
They absolutely
yeah, okay. So you're on about like running as if you was running two different operating softwares on one system, and the PS5 turns into
like
Steam Deck.
No, plug it right into a PC, and now you start up Steam VR, and there's your headset, and you're in it just like on anything else. No PS5 at all. Is what I'm thinking.
That's
what I originally thought, to be honest. But yeah, the more I thought about it, the more I thought I can't see why they wouldn't want the PS5 involved, because they want to shift consoles. But
the whole thing is weird, right?
Yeah.
Like this whole thing is really weird. It is
weird.
Not like Sony to do something like this and to, like, announce it and have it be like a big old thing, you know. You just show our show notes on this.
I totally did that mistake. Totally did.
That's funny. And yeah, it's really, really weird. I like, obviously, I don't know. I guess like the most, like the lowest hanging fruit of an explanation is that they want to add value to the headset. They want people who bought it to feel like now they have more value from their purchase, which would make people less disgruntled about it, right? Like I'm somebody who doesn't know if I've gotten my value. Actually, I have. GT7 is awesome, but I feel like I still could have gotten more value for the price of that headset compared to the price of other headsets. So this adds value that something like the Quest does have. The Quest can be used as a PC VR headset. That's a selling point for that thing. So they want to have the same selling point for the PlayStation VR 2, which I don't know if it's going to have that effect. All I can really do is like, I don't know, I guess judge some anecdotal evidence. And I have one friend who is like a real life friend from high school who hit me up after that announcement. He has a PS5 and a PlayStation VR 2. And when he saw that announcement, he was like, yes, this is awesome. I think I'm going to get a PC now. Like,
wow,
so
buy a PC.
He's been like waffling on the PC decision.
This is what I'm saying. Like that, like what percentage of people do you think that would be?
Very few, but it did happen. Like there's evidence of someone who is stoked that this is happening right now. Like but
the other thing is, and this is the in my video yesterday, and I don't hold anything back. I don't want to hold anything back.
Oh, do we lose him?
Oh no.
Pancake lenses.
All right, say that again. You don't want to hold anything back, and what?
Sorry, did I cut out? Yeah, you guys cut out for me as well. Pancake lenses versus Fresnel lenses. Like, I know there's an OLED panel there, but I mean, that's hard for me. That's hard for me to think. Will it be that amazing? I don't know.
Well, but it's not about like making the right choice. It's about you already having a PlayStation and now you have additional value for that device. Like I think that's really the main thing. You know, it's not like it's because my buddy, shout out Pabark, you know, he's been a Between Realities homie for a long time. His PlayStation VR 2 is his best headset. You know, like he doesn't have a PlayStation, he doesn't have a Quest 3, he doesn't have a Valve Index.
That's what I mean. Even I guess even from that perspective, I'm kind of out of the equation.
Yep.
Because I'm multi-platform. Like I'm not headset specific. I chase games.
Yep. So, but this gets console gamers the opportunity to use their super expensive hardware to access this whole other world.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe. I'm going through all the headsets in my brain right now, but I don't believe there's an HDR compatible VR headset for PC.
No.
So that's another, you know, that and adaptive triggers. If we can get the adaptive triggers working in there.
And the headset haptics, dude.
Oh, dude, the haptics. Yeah. Oh, man. Dude,
I would use that headset just for the headset haptics for certain titles.
It could be amazing. I think I'm just skeptical. Like, will it use all these features? What sort of PC do people need to run the games? Because the thing is, I basically said to someone, to get the experiences, like the graphical quality, games are obviously optimized for PlayStation and they're optimized for that headset, right? Developers are focusing exactly on one particular set of hardware setup for PlayStation. When you go to PC, that changes completely. That is like, you're trying to deal with everything. So for some people, I said, I think you need to spend in the region of $2,000 to get a PC, which might give you some of the graphics like Gran Turismo, Red Matter 2, stuff that you think you're going to expect. But it's not like that in PC land. It's just not like that. Like, you will think to yourself, dude, I'm going to run Half-Life Alyx. I've got a fucking 1080. Let's go. And then suddenly you'll get in there and you'll be like, this doesn't look that good. Like, why is everyone telling me it looks good? And you know, when you play certain games, especially Unreal Engine 5, I played a Body Cam, which was like a game that kind of went viral because it looks surreal. Dude, if you take down one fucking setting from Ultra, it looks like a game suddenly. It doesn't look like real life. And that's where I think maybe some people have avoided the ecosystem of PC. I actually never wanted, there was a point in my life where I never wanted to buy a PC again. Because it was just, sorry about this PC, but the blue screen of death, low dropping frames, sudden things that just, consoles are so easy. They're so easy, and PlayStation for that is so easy. Streaming and capturing content is so easy. And it sounds amazing. I just hope people are ready for, they've got to have their expectations in check, you know. That's what I think.
I think they are ready. Like, that's the thing. It's like, I hope so. You don't have to use your PlayStation 2 with a PC. It's only if that seems like something that you're ready and want to do. You know, like, anybody who's into VR enough, like, let's say you're on your PS5, you're a console guy through and through, PlayStation VR is your very first headset, boom, mind blown. Now you're a VR person. You're inspired. You're like, okay, this is sick. I want to play Half-Life Alyx. I want to play these other games that I don't have access to. What do I need to do next? And now you're down the rabbit hole. Now you're installing drivers. Now you're changing settings. You know, like, you have the necessary incentive to learn and do those things. You know, I think that there's a natural progression to that from the PlayStation 5 if you wanted to start using your PSVR 2 as a computer PC VR headset.
Yeah, I agree. And with my tweet yesterday, which kind of went quite bigger than I expected, I was about eye tracking. And someone just said it in the chat. Quest Pro has got eye tracking and face tracking. Hardly anyone even uses it. So, I mean,
game developers.
True.
Yeah. Is it going to happen? Like, I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
Well, kind of, right? So I can't imagine that a lot, like, let's pretend that tomorrow Sony's like, here you go, just plug in your PSVR 2 in your PC and now you can play Steam VR games. I do not think that developers are going to automatically go in and add in dynamic foveated rendering and you know, gaze control of their menus specifically for that headset, because it might be a very small user base for their game, right? And so they would have to add that in to the PC version for it to work. Now, a game like VR Chat, you know, maybe they'll add that in there. Maybe Sony can nudge them or something, and now there's eye tracking. People can actually see your eyes moving, but that's very different than what eye tracking is truly used for, which is the dynamic foveated rendering and bringing up performance on games, like Sony uses it, right? I hear a lot of non-VR content creators say, well, Sony doesn't use the eye tracking hardly ever. But it's because they don't understand what the eye tracking is really for, right? It's mostly for performance increases and dynamic foveated rendering, and so they don't see it, so they don't know, you know, because they're not in our bubble and they don't understand how a lot of this stuff works. So I don't think a lot of these things, I don't think like even the triggers and stuff would be necessarily implemented in 99% of games unless Sony or a Sony-owned studio has something to do with that IP. you know?
Yeah, but when it comes to eye tracking specifically, I do feel like it's one of those things where like once you have experienced it and like adopted it into your life, it's like you can't really go back. You know, like Quest Pro is technically a kind of half step back, but not really, because people didn't own the Quest Pro. So they don't really know what they were missing in terms of the Quest platform. But AVP has just completely paved the way. I don't think we're going to see consumer headsets come out for much longer without eye tracking.
Yeah, I agree.
Eventually,
I agree there.
it will just be a completely standard issue feature on every single headset that comes out.
Which means price is going to go up on all these things. I mean, it's one of the reasons why the headset's so expensive. It's one of the reasons why the Quest Pro was so expensive and didn't get that many adopters, is because eye tracking modules are still very expensive to implement. And then you have to get the adoption on top of that. You got to get developers to use it. You just put this hardware in there and now you get a pound on pavement and be like, yo, implement this.
The point, I guess the point that I was trying to make is that I think it's only a matter of time. Like it won't be long before developers don't have a choice, because it's a standard issue. It's like saying, hey, should we use controllers for our VR game? It's like, no, it's a part of the headset. You're using it. Like that's a part of what you're doing. So I think it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, and I think Legendary Tales, the developer there, and I've said it a few times, and hopefully it'll be the last time I say it, he basically added a feature for reviewers where you could turn the dynamic foveated rendering on and off. And like I played the Wizard's Dark Times today on PSVR 2, and that option needs to be there because it's clearly off. Do you know what I mean? There is a big difference. So
and why that matters, right, for people that don't create content, right, is because you can probably see the blurry edges when you're creating the content, which you cannot see in the headset. If you look straight ahead, naturally everything around where you're looking is blurry, so you don't notice when they turn the resolution down on the sides of your vision. And when you move the vision, that's where the clear part goes. But when you're trying to create content on that, now you have a blur around the screen where people don't necessarily understand that's what's happening, and then maybe they think the game looks bad, you know what I mean, when it doesn't. That's not an accurate representation of what you're seeing in the headset. So
$2, or I guess pounds, £2 from PD, my squid brethren, said Half-Life Alyx finally on PSVR 2. Yeah, I
know, right?
Yeah, that's Brad tweeted something similar yesterday, and I retweeted it. That's pretty good. He's like, oh, finally. And ClassyGrandma dropping $20, saying, hey, GT, I love your work. Hey, homeboys, you know I love you guys. Don't notice this. You guys can stay intense. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Too bad. GT, ClassyGrandma. I'm going to notice it. I'm going to call it out. So thank you for contributing. And, you know, shout out to members, shout out to super chats, shout out to Patreons, especially. You know, it's weird because like Patreons are our most loyal subscribers. You know, they like contribute every single month. But if it's not a super chat, I'm like not saying it out and like getting the opportunity to like call it out. You know what I mean? So if you are one of our Patreons, you know, I know that you're not here for just so you can hear us shout you out or whatever. That's not why you're doing it. But I just want you to know that we really appreciate you. And,
we do. We love you.
It means the world to us.
For real. Thank you.
Thank you, Classy, and thank you to everybody who contributes, because it enables us to keep the wheels on, so to speak.
Heck
yeah, we don't want to lose the wheels. Just want to mention Funky Soft's comment. He said, can you ask GT why his eyelids are so shiny? Now, have I had my eyes closed a lot? It must be when I'm looking at the screen.
Oh,
are your eyelids shiny?
It's not something I would have noticed. Now, let's not forget, Funky Sloth is he's a few drinks deep at this point. You know, he was drunk when we started the show. I imagine he's had at least 2 since then.
At least like for a lot. It's been a long time since people asked if I wore eyeliner. Like that stopped, but that was the thing.
People would ask if you wore eyeliner.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, GT, are you wearing eyeliner?" I'm like, "What?" I don't even know how to put it on. I can't even put lip balm on properly. Like my wife if I try and put lip balm on, she's like, "Don't do that in front of me." Apparently, I do it terribly. I'm like, put my lips out weird.
Wow. Well,
I wouldn't even know how to start with that.
Man, see, it's tough when you're so good looking that people assume that you're trying to enhance yourself, and that's why you look that way.
How is this possible? This is not humanly possible. You must be wearing some makeup or something, because how could you look so good?
How can you get such shiny eyelids? You know?
Yeah, that's insane.
It's like when people that shave their heads and they're completely bald and they use that shiny stuff, buff their heads. I saw GT before the show doing that with his eyelids.
Wow. Yeah. That's only a matter of time before I'm going to have to learn how to do
that. Lovely clean eyelids.
Snowtoad 149 popcorn picture. We love you, Snowtoad. Thank you for your continued contributions
so much.
All right, Gamertag VR. Why is virtual reality just amazing? What is it about virtual reality that you just love?
Literally, to put it in a nutshell, is because I get to go inside games. That's it, really. It's like, I don't know. It's like going inside the screen when you're a kid, when you're playing a game and you're sitting there and I still remember 2016, first time trying VR, and that magic still hasn't really left me. It was amazing. And I think when I speak to people and I try and sell them on VR and they think it's like a 3D film, and I'm like, no, it's more than that. Like that whatever borders you have in 3D, they don't exist. You are in there. And that's the magic of it, It's a standard for me, and it takes a very special flat game for me to not want to put a VR headset on. Which doesn't happen very often.
Well, apparently it's happening right now. Are you still playing Helldivers, or are you returning it like Mateo?
Hell yeah! I love that game, bro. It's so good.
I want to play it. Like, the reviews are too strong. Like, seeing you post a flat game on your channel, it's like, okay, wait a second. Maybe I need to play that.
What the hell was that about?
Yeah.
I didn't tell my wife.
I did unsubscribe. Just so you know, I had to unsubscribe.
You did.
Yeah, I had to. You posted a flat game. That's not. I'm not here for that. So
I was, I done that video, and that's the thing. Maybe part of my gratitude is part of this. Like, I try and remember how far I've come. So, like, getting less than 1,000 views in a couple of hours is now bad, but I remember being happy about getting like 65.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I try and remind myself of that. And yeah, like when that video hit like 3,500 views, I was like, that's pretty cool. Like 3,500 people wanted to know what I thought about that game, and it's not a VR game. So yeah, it's not something I continue to do. A game has to be, it has to make me turn my head, and I would consider doing it again in the future. Now, but as I said, it's probably only going to be 3 times a year.
Well, is that an Unreal game? Can we inject into that game? No? Dang it!
Do you know? If you want to, it's a very interesting story about the engine of that game. They actually designed it on Helldivers' original engine, which you can't use anymore, and stopped being updated in 2018. But they continue to use that engine and modify it to make it what it is today. So it's made on an engine that just no one uses anymore, and it still looks pretty. Yeah, look it up, man. It was on Twitter the other day. It was really cool.
People
really
were complaining about not being able to get in. Is that still a problem?
It can be. It depends where you are in the world, isn't it? Obviously, you guys are going to probably jump on when the largest part of the world is jumping on America. So, but for me, like, I do hit it. Like, if I come online at night, it's probably like early evening, afternoon for you guys. So I still hit it. But if I go on at 11 o'clock at night, like, that's when it could be dodgy. But they've actually already said they're putting out another update to sort it all out, and it's been pretty good the last couple of days for me. But it has been bad. Yeah, it has been bad.
Word. Well, listen, dude, we could go forever. Literally, I could sit here and talk to you until I passed out. Like, it's that easy.
I feel like we're gonna stop now.
We are gonna stop. That's what I'm leading up to. Yeah, but it's not because I don't love this. That's the thing. Okay. Like, I could do this all day long.
Same. Absolutely.
But we've been here for 90 minutes, and we've had 50 plus people spending their day with us, their Friday, and ringing in the weekend. Shout out Qcreator. Yeah. But I think it's about time that we wrap this up, because
if you could, I'll tell you what, before we go, if you guys could have one game you've played in VR, it doesn't matter what platform, what game would you like to experience in VR? Regardless of platform.
Probably WoW or an equivalent MMO. Something with the depth and richness of an MMORPG, a real one. Like,
and would you like to actually be the character, or would you just happily look on that world?
I would honestly love the choice. If I could get the choice, that would be fantastic. I would love to go into first person or play in third person and have the experience be relatively the same.
See, I think that as well. I think it'd be great if you could, for example, Helldivers, right? You could play it as it is native now, like third person.
You can play Helldivers as it is native now in third person.
Have I frozen? You guys are frozen.
Yeah. We're unfrozen now. I don't know whose side is on.
Weird.
Probably mine.
I was just gonna say, man, like it'd be really cool if you still gave people the option to just use a controller and see games in VR. You know, because I think, would you want to do a raid in World of Warcraft with your hands? I mean, that must be absolutely exhausting.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like a keyboard and mouse works for that. So yeah, maybe something equivalent. You know, I don't know how to fix it. Zenith did a great job. It's a really fun game, but it just doesn't have the depth and replayability that, you know, like a WoW or an EverQuest or one of those does.
That's such a shame, that game. I mean, it came out so strong, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, hey, they're not done. You know, they just they haven't they either just released or are about to release a like co-op, like campaign type experience or something, or like a single player or something like that. So they're continuing to add, and you know, we've met the Ramen team. They're super passionate, they're committed, and they had a great launch. So hopefully they have what they need to continue to add to this game, and maybe we'll see like we'll see it grow into what I'm dreaming of.
So for me, and I've said this before, so people know my answer is my very first choice for any game to play in VR would be Mario Kart, and probably Mario Kart 8 specifically. I want to look down and look around and see the cart. I want to look down and see my Mario feet up in the front of the cart, you know what I mean? And be able to look over and see that shell and grab it and throw it. And now I have traveled to go play the actual official Mario Kart game in VR, but it's only one level. Like I want all of Mario Kart 8 or something like that, or 9 when that comes out, right? But Mario Kart would be the ultimate for me. And then like I feel like besides that, I kind of want to go old school and Unreal Tournament.
Wow,
would be my other.
Quake 3 is not good enough for you?
I love Quake 3, love it, and I've played the crap out of it, and I think it's amazing. But Unreal Tournament was like, will always hold this special, you know, spot in my heart. And I've never connected to a multiplayer game like I did on that. It was like one of the first ones that like really grabbed me and had me put like thousands of hours into playing it.
That was online, Skiv, wasn't it? That had the railgun.
Yep.
So funny enough, one of my friends, his brother was like a bit of a London gangster, I guess. And my friend, who was at least 5 years younger, still in school, he went up to visit him in London, and he got mistaken for his bigger brother, and he got basically kicked the shit out of. Got a little bit of head damage, and then he got agoraphobia, and he basically lived through Unreal. Like he became one of the best players of that game.
Wow.
Funny enough, yeah. Like I think that game got him through. He was almost living like his own lockdown for like 2-3 years. I didn't understand it, to be honest. I was like 14, 15. Everyone said to me like, "You can't go out," and I was like, "Surely he's fine." So I waited for his parents to go out one day, and I went round, and we had a great chat. He showed me his rig, showed me everything. I didn't really ask many questions about it. I was just really pleased to see him. And when I left, his other brother rang me up and he said, "Dude, don't come round again." He was like, "Because you've probably set him back at least 3 or 4 weeks." I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Why?" And he said, "We don't know." He said, "But that's what the doctor said. Like, he's not allowed to see people." I was like, "Okay." So
that's so sad to hear when things like that happen to people.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You know, I didn't really understand it. Maybe my friend didn't even understand it. You know, that was because it was weird. Going to see him, you would know nothing. You wouldn't think anything was wrong, but something was wrong. But anyway, for him, that game was amazing. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a bummer, but I bet he was feeling pretty good when he's on kill 32 of a kill streak. You know, it was slaughtering a lobby.
Yeah, I'd never seen someone with like such accurate and fast keyboard and mouse skills. Like that's when I realized the difference between why you can't have someone using a keyboard and mouse versus a joystick.
Yep.
You know, or a gamepad. It's fucking instantaneous.
Yeah, it's a night and day experience for sure. Okay, so what's your game then? What's your flat game that you want to play in VR? Helldivers too?
Do you know what? No, I mean I would do, but to be honest, I kind of already had some of my boxes ticked. I've been very lucky. I've experienced Daytona in VR, Ridge Racer, Doom, some part of Breath of the Wild, the original Zelda. Like, I've almost done everything in a way that I always fantasized about doing. So I've kind of, Doom was probably the big one. Like that was my first person shooter experience, really, was Doom, and it was on my mate's girlfriend's PC, and it was obviously a very good PC at the time, and it was like the most incredible experience ever. You know, high frame rate, fucking violence, a shotgun that looked real. It was just insane. So yeah, like, the stuff we do now is just mind-blowing.
Doom
really.
had to be everybody's first, right?
Mine was Return to Castle, or just Wolfenstein.
Yeah, Wolfenstein.
You know, and then someone made the Wolfenstein VR mod, and for me, like, I felt you there. So Doom, I played obviously way more than I played Wolfenstein, but I absolutely played Wolfenstein a whole bunch. And then so when I did get to go in and play that in VR, and it blew my mind. And then when Doom got its VR mod, I played through that 3-4 times, you know. So absolutely incredible, and I loved being in those worlds because they really helped, like, kind of shape so much of me growing up.
This is obligatory. So, if you are a Quest owner and you have not played the Dr. Beef ports, I cannot stress enough how much you are missing out on.
Yes.
It is
Doom 2,
pennies.
Doom 3.
You can get this done for pennies, like a couple of bucks, and you will be in some of the best Quest experiences you can get. Don't.
This is what I'm saying. Like, why would people, if you love VR and you've got a PC already, this is my point. Like, you can have a VR arcade, MUVR, fucking, you get a Quest, then you're playing Virtual Boy, then you're playing Team Beef, you're playing Return to Castle, Wolfenstein, Doom, Half-Life natively in VR on Quest. Like, how does that not make anyone go, I'm going to lay down £200, £300 for a Quest 2 to do this? I don't get.
I know.
I can't get part of that conversation.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of friction, you know? Like, there's just that little touch of friction, and that's enough.
Well, I know a lot of people that will have a really hard time, even though there's people out there that map it out and they're like, do this, do this, do this. Like, you have to buy and install the game on Steam, and you have to go in and you have to grab those files, and you take only certain files, and then you connect your Quest to the PC, and you got to get it so Windows recognizes it and install side quests.
All right, hey, it's not that much though.
It really isn't to someone who's technically inclined and isn't afraid of computers. But there are a lot of people out there that, you know, that stuff just puts them off.
Aren't we all afraid first, though?
At first, sure.
I literally, as I told you, man, I had the fucking blue screen of death so much I didn't ever want a PC again. So, believe me, when I was scared of doing all of this stuff. But it's so worth it.
I agree. I agree.
Not everything is, but Dr. Beef ports are. Don't sleep on Dr. Beef.
First time you smash a crate in Half-Life with that fucking crowbar, with that suit on, like, you cannot say that isn't worth, like, that, to me, the beginning of my Half-Life video from like 4 years ago was me just hitting boxes going, whoa, I can't believe I'm in here. Like, yeah, it's insane.
It really is insane. So everybody, if you're listening to this, you're close enough to VR to make this worth your time. So just go do it. Okay.
Do it.
It's kind of like a command, less like advice. So, you know, you need to do that. Let's see. $5 from Mr. Survivor saying we need to do another Quake 3 VR session.
Yes, let's go.
GT needs to be there. I love playing Quake 3 in VR.
Me too.
Really fun.
Me too.
So I would totally be down for that. And if that sounds like something that would be fun to you, click the link to our Discord in the description and come join us, and maybe we can put together a lobby. That would be cool. Gamertag VR, we are huge fans. We love you so much. You are a true homie. You are an absolute badass, and you know, I could go on and on about how great you are, but you know, we already wasted more time talking about your stupid flat games to VR.
Oh yeah.
Just kidding, but we love you, and give us some parting words before we kick you off.
Parting words, click like, subscribe to the Between Realities podcast, and that's it, really.
Like and subscribe. That's it. We'll see you on Monday for the VR Crewcast that you host for us every week, and we love it. So we'll see you soon.
Cheers. Thank you ever so much.
Goodbye, GT. Everybody join us in saying goodbye to Gamertag
Bye,
VR.
everyone. See ya.
Bye. Psh, and he's
There
gone.
he goes.
He's gone, just like that.
There he goes.
Man, time flies when you're having fun.
It does.
Especially
It does.
with Gamertag VR.
Yep. This could easily turn into a 4-hour conversation.
I know.
It's funny because I think you've mentioned this before, but a lot of times we do the VR crew cast for like 2 hours. And sometimes we spend another hour just chatting afterwards.
I know. It's crazy. And like technically we could have been live for that, but
yeah.
You have to put things into parameters
for sure.
sometimes.
For sure.
Thank you all for tuning in to today's show. King Roll the Cartoon Gamescast says first time watching the Between Realities channel. Seeing you guys on the Gamescast and the algorithm sent me this way. Good luck in growing the channel. Well, it's pretty awesome that you're here right now to hear who we're going to have as the guest next week.
Who we got? I can't wait.
This is your job.
Oh, this is my job. All right. So next week we have Brian Paul from PSVR 2 Without Parole, the ultimate PSVR champion and the leader of one of the biggest, strongest, most passionate communities I have ever seen in any space.
No one
not
compares
just
to the
VR.
Game Cats.
Yes.
Game Cats
are just like
an absolute army. And we have been trying to get this guy on Between Realities for like 3 years. So I am super, super stoked that we finally have him as our guest for next week, which is sooner than I realized it was going to be.
I know, right?
It's exciting. But thank you all again for watching on YouTube, or maybe you caught us on the app, on the replay, on Spotify or Anchor or whatever. Thank you for that. Also, shout out to Upload VR. We are Upload VR correspondents, and you might have even caught this episode on uploadvr.com on the front page over the weekend. And if you did, thank you for being a part of the Upload crew as well. Shout out Snowtoad, Bluebell, Kensei Gaming, Great Tantrum, Assassin 32, ClassyGrandma, Duggars K, King Roll the Cartoons Game Cat, Secrets of, Michelle B, Game on Scorpio, MickeyBerr, Rezel VR, Funky Sloth, Aaron Summers, Mr. Survivor, Chi-Town D, Old Darth.
Did you say Steve Meland?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
shout out Steve Meland, my dad. Yeah, the OG homie. And EV and Paradise Decay and Moonshine Games, Mava and Beyond Frames. Thank you all so much. And I guess that's that. We're happy to have you back, in our home neck of the woods, Skiva. So I imagine you'll be in VR this weekend, or you?
Well, I mean, in VR, and I'm also packing a lot because I got to start packing because I'm going to be moving. So next few weeks, we're going to have to pull some computer magic here and kind of, pull it together.
We'll do that.
Great.
Well, you let me know if you need help moving the couch or the heavy things. I'll be there.
Cool.
And so will the VR community. We'll let you all know when Skiva is moving, so you can all come out to Arizona and help us move
Come
everything.
on over.
All right, cool. That's that. Thank you all so much again for being here, and we will see you next week with Brian Paul with PSVR Without Parole and all the Game Cats. Have a great weekend. See you next Friday.
Bye-bye.